Once upon a time, far in the north, the people of the land were under the control of a cruel and controlling wizard. He kept everything for himself, and the people were hungry and miserable. One day, a boy decided to strike out on his own and find his fortune. As he reached the edge of the forest, he came upon a strange old man. The strange old man offered the boy work feeding his animals. "If you have a strong back and a taste for hard work, I will hire you for 3 years. I will pay you 1 bushel of gold the first year, 2 bushels the second year, and 3 the third." The boy gratefully agreed and followed the old man into the forest. They arrived at a cave entrance, where they made their way inside and traveled down and down into the earth. What the boy saw made him realize that his employer was none other than the wizard who hoarded the bounty of the land above. A vast underground cavern held more animals than the boy had ever seen, and the crops grew down from the earth above. The boy spent a month harvesting the food and feeding it to the vast menagerie. And when he was finished, the wizard pulled him aside. "You have done well, my boy. The animals eat but once a year, so I have other plans for you." With a mysterious-sounding incantation and a wave of his hand, he changed the boy into a rabbit. "I will call for you again when you are needed." The rabbit ran into the forest, where the local hunters were quick to give chase. He was able to keep 1 jump ahead of them and even began to enjoy the chase in his own way. When a year had gone by, the wizard called him home and changed him back. "How did you enjoy being a rabbit?" asked the wizard. The boy chose his words carefully. "I quite enjoyed it, for I could run faster than ever before," answered the boy. The wizard was pleased and presented the boy with his first bushel of gold. The boy fed the animals as he had before, and this time the wizard uttered magic words that changed the boy into a raven. The raven flew out of the cavern and into the open sky. For almost a year he evaded the arrows of desperate men, sheltering in the tops of the trees. When the year was up, the wizard called him home again. "How did you enjoy being a raven?" asked the wizard. "I enjoyed it very much, for I could fly high into the sky," answered the boy. He knew he must please the wizard or be destroyed, and he was determined to complete his task. He received 2 more bushels of gold, and after the animals had been fed a 3rd time, the wizard again recited a magical incantation, but this time the boy listened very closely. He was transformed into a fish, then slipped down past the fishermen's desperate hooks and nets into the sea. As he swam deeper and deeper into the cool blue water, he saw something bright at the bottom. He soon discovered a beautiful palace of glass and bone-white coral. He swam around the palace, admiring its beauty, when suddenly he came face to face with a girl peering back at him. Overcome with curiosity, he searched until he found a way inside, a hole in the bottom of the floor. He concentrated and remembered the wizard's incantation, and with a burst of bubbles he changed back into a boy and entered the palace. The girl was very startled to see another human being, having lived in solitude all her life. Then she looked at him very closely and said, "Oh, I know you. You serve the wizard, and he is fond of you." Astounded, the boy asked how she could know such a thing. She told him that the wizard was her father, and she had such secret knowledge of his powers that he kept her imprisoned at the bottom of the ocean. They became fast friends and spent the remainder of that year in each other's company. Before he was to return, she told him of a plan she had created. They would trick the wizard into bringing her up out of the ocean, and in so doing, they would have a chance to end his evil magic for good. "The king of your land owes the wizard 6 bushels of gold, which will be exactly what you will have earned. The king cannot pay, and the day draws near when the loan will come due, and the wizard will become king. You must go to the king and offer to make a gift of your gold in exchange for accompanying the king to make the payment. He will not argue. Disguise yourself as a jester and create as much chaos as you can when you reach the wizard's palace. Before the night is over, you will stand trial. Be brave and know that I will be with you." Their plan in place, the boy recited the incantation and turned into a fish, bidding the girl goodbye, and then swimming back towards the surface. The wizard, as expected, called him home and turned him back into a boy. "And how did you enjoy being a fish?" the wizard asked. "I liked it more than anything else," the boy replied, which, in a way, was true. His service completed, the wizard ushered the boy back to the surface, gave him all 6 bushels of gold, and sent him on his way. Straining under the weight of 6 bushels of gold, the boy made the long, difficult journey to the castle of his king. When he arrived, he spread the gold before his majesty and watched an expression of awe and relief spread over the king's weary face. The king was more than agreeable to the boy's request, and in a week they were making their way to the palace, the boy having disguised himself as the court jester. When they arrived at the palace, the boy burst in and began making a spectacle of himself, and for all his magic, the wizard did not recognize the boy. By and by, the boy's performance became reckless, knocking over the wizard's throne, tumbling and carrying on foolishly, walking on his hands and breaking spell and potion bottles. As he carried on, the wizard looked on, stupefied with fury, unable to believe the audacity of this jester. "Enough!" roared the wizard. He announced that the jester would be punished and made to stand trial with a guessing game. The boy bravely accepted his fate, and the game began. "You must answer 3 questions correctly, or you and your king will be imprisoned until the end of time." The wizard smiled, knowing there was no way this jester could answer him. "Question 1. Where is my daughter?" "She is at the bottom of the sea." The wizard reeled in shock. How could this be? He furrowed his brow. He began to mumble an incantation, and in an instant there appeared an entire company of young girls, each exactly like the last, and each an exact image of the wizard's daughter. "I must ask this question again," he said, for he always cheated at games. "Where is my daughter?" The boy took a deep breath and looked carefully at the row of girls. The real wizard's daughter gave him a wink, and he pulled her aside, triumphantly declaring, "Here she is. The others are mere reflections." The other girls vanished as the wizard seethed. He was accustomed to getting his way and could barely contain his rage. "I will ask the next question in 2 parts, he growled. "Where is my heart?" The wizard's daughter had told the boy all about her father in their time under the sea, and it was with great confidence he answered, "It is in a fish." The wizard smiled an unkind smile. "Would you know that fish?" he asked, feeling he had trapped the boy at last. "Yes," answered the boy. "Bring him forth." A great cascade of fish came pouring from the sky, gasping and flapping their tails. When the right fish came by, the girl pointed it out, and the boy seized it by the tail until it ceased to struggle. The evil wizard, his power vanquished, crumbled into a heap of dust. The animals, now free from enchantment, rushed out of the caverns, and the crops sprang back to the surface. The king returned to his castle and insisted that the boy and the girl come live with him as honored members of the royal family. They spent their days happily watching over their prosperous kingdom, and for all I know, they are living there to this day.